Welcome. I'm the Curmudgeon in the Cellar. And we got a few things to talk about this week. First off, why do all the new games have to be so damned expensive? Holy cow. My friend was given a copy of Rising Sun, which we tried out for the first time this week, and I think it's a pretty good game. But goodness gracious, if you get involved in this game, and then you get just the one expansion that allows you to go to 5 from 7 to 7 players, you got $125, $135 invested in it already, right there. It's a great game. And I'm going to figure out a way. Well, I'm buying the expansion for 6 and 7, players 6 and 7, so that we can play with my buddy's game when that 6th guy is able to play with us. But my God, games are expensive now. Good grief. It's even worse now. Got so many things. All right, end of rant. Got so many things to talk about. First off, the auction of many things. 2nd and 3rd of March in Los Angeles, or Los Angeles, or LA, or down there on the left coast toward the bottom. Anyway, I'm delighted to have been asked to participate. This is going to be a big online charity auction. It's original artwork, artifacts, all kinds of stuff. The fund is going to be set up and it's being funneled toward Gary Kahn and Luke Gygax, who is anybody, well, if you don't already know, Gary Kahn has done a great deal of fundraising to help out some of the pioneers of the industry that have gotten caught way behind big medical bills and stuff like that, horrible medical incidents. And so this is going to be an established way to do this, and this is to raise funds for it. And I was asked to participate, so they're going to pick me up at my front door and drive me to the airport and fly me to Los Angeles, where somebody else is going to pick me up and take me to the hotel, hopefully with a stop along the way. And for 3 days, and I'm going to be out there. They're flying me out on the afternoon of the 28th, and then the event runs the 1st and the 2nd, and the 3rd, because on the 3rd, on Sunday, I'm going to be running a game original of mine that has only been run a few times over the last 8-9 years since I wrote it. And it has not been published for wide distribution yet. And they're going to bid on those spots to play in my game. I'm tickled to death, and I can only hope that they get more than, say, about $12, $15 a spot. But I promise that the winners will enjoy themselves. I can pretty well assure you that you're going to do something like you've never seen or done before. And we're going real old school. Now, let's see what we got to talk about tonight. Let's see. Yeah, okay. We did my rant on too much money nowadays to be a gamer. Okay, here we go. First comment. In discussing your wins and losses with Gary, I'm inferring that you favored no character classes. Is that correct? If so, would there be a place for magic users in that role or system? No, I was fine with the classes. I didn't like the mixed races because it was a form of min-maxing. But I also recognized that people wanted to play half-elves and, whatever. I always thought half-orcs were an abomination. They had to be products of something ill-humored. And Gary was much the same way, but we discussed it at some length over a period of some time, and decided that if we were going to attempt to try to keep a handle on where the game was going and how it's evolving, and keep it as a saleable, palatable product for the general public, then we're going to have to monitor and give them some of what they want, and we'll monitor it and make it more palatable. Just as the heavy magic and the demons were weeded out for basic, okay, same thought process. We'll make it more palatable. So, no, I was fine with fighters and clerics and magic users, and I saw most of the rest of what was being played, paladins and druids and stuff, is just really subclasses of the base 3. And so I really had no problem with that in that regard. They all went back to the base 3. Paladin is a special kind of fighter. Paladin starts out as a fighter. You know, so in that regard, no, Gary and I were pretty much of one accord after we realized, yeah, okay, we gotta continue to try to ride herd on this thing. And please don't misunderstand that as hubris. It was a sincere desire to keep the game marketable, palatable, growing, and fun. And we were doing everything we could to do that, because if we were successful, we knew, well, then TSR was made. Let's see, what else did I fail on that? So yeah, of course there's magic users. Obviously, there's got to be people that manipulate the ether. Okay, here we're talking about, what do I call people? Listeners, friends, community. Real friends are interested in your story and your life, which is why we listen to your rants. Okay, here we go. This is the first of the 2 spells entry. Friends and magic missile. Then he uses friends to get in close and make sure you see things his way. But if you're stubborn, that's where the magic missile comes in. Well, I'm sorry if I wasn't quite clear on that. This is what Benny does to make you irrevocably dead. Get taken out with a magic missile, you can be resurrected, you can be revived, reincarnated, whatever. No. When Benny takes you out, you are dead. That's death writ large in fiery letters on a black background. Dead. So you're on the right track, but not nearly lethal enough. What 2 spells does Benny use to make you irretrievably, irrevocably dead? And good news, when we get enough of these to have some fun with it, I've talked Jim Wampler into coming on. He'll be sitting right here next to me. We'll just back up a little and get a little wide angle. And we will go through these and we'll have some fun. And that'll be in a few weeks. We'll see how many we get and when we have enough to do it. Because we're both going to TotalCon, and then right after TotalCon, 2 days later, I'm going to Los Angeles, and then I'm coming back, and 2 days later, Jim and I, with a third friend, are going to GaryCon. So I've got a really busy 3 weeks there. Okay, thanks. Okay, I'm getting better and better. Thank you. Did you say the Gygax wanted D&D to be a more skill-based game? What was the ultimate form of? Okay. When Gary's role-playing games had to change names when he got shoved out, and as various stuff failed and was assailed, changed names again. And this is my speculation based on a few conversations I had with Gary before he died, and what I saw way back when in the evolution, when the game first started evolving. I believe that because Gary was essentially forced to come up with different mechanics and mechanisms to keep doing role-playing games and not get squashed like a bug by whoever had the the license at the time. I think he saw that as a way to go, and that rather than the 6 numbers and all that kind of stuff, those numbers wouldn't be there. It would be skill-based and abilities-based, and a lot of that would be there right at the beginning. And if you follow his various iterations of the role-playing systems that he wrote, the last one I'm pretty sure being the Legendary Adventures, and the next one he was said to be working on was entirely skills and ability based. Now I can see where he was thinking he was going, in that if it was all skills and abilities, then it would become much more storytelling, collective communal storytelling, and less dice rolling, because such and such a dilemma pops up. He's got this skill, she's got that ability, boom, 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 it's solved, on we go. It doesn't slow down the flow of the game. That's one theory I have. Another is that he was simply forced to go that direction. But if you look at his last stuff and what he's purported to have been working on, and I've talked to several of the people that did work with him after TSR, I think that's the direction he decided he had to or wanted to go. After all, he and Dave sort of invented the milieu, the genre, whatever you want to call it, and he wasn't stagnating. He was evolving it to see where it would go to next. The ultimate form, I think, by that time, if you're looking at mechanic form, skills and abilities. Ultimate form of his game, I'm sure, was first edition, because that's where we wanted to have it. Here it is, codified if you need it, still encouraging people to expand and change and grow. I think that was the ultimate form of Gary's D&D. Was first edition AD&D, for all its flaws, warts, and blemishes. You were a killer DM. Yes, I was. Still can be. Careful. Do you think a DM should challenge the players or accommodate them? And then the second half of this question was D&D to be more narrative or tactical. Very good question, and a very complex answer for me, right? Even as I stall. I think that the adventure should always be a challenge. Some puzzles are easy challenges. Some puzzles are very, very difficult challenges. Some puzzles require physical solving. Some puzzles and challenges require working up here. I think the game should always be a challenge. Great gains are only earned by great risk. Accommodate is a slippery political type word. If you mean, should you be one of these DMs that polls his new group and says, hi, do you all want to die or not? That's not a dungeon master or a game master or anything else with the word master, because it's not his game. Strip him or her of the title, the word master, then they can be whatever they want to be. You don't accommodate the players in that regard. Now, accommodate the players. Well, if you consider that you don't ever give them a challenge so great that it's a open the door, you're dead type thing, you should accommodate in that you should develop your challenges by having weighed their skill level, their ability, their levels, however you want to look at that. When I design an adventure, I have in my mind how many players of what roughly level will be playing. And so I try not to give anything that's just going to wipe them out. Open the door, you're dead. None of that kind of stuff. I try to make the challenge commensurate with their ability to meet it. So in that regard, yeah, that's an accommodation. You don't get a new group of players, clean out an old haunted church and thing of a couple of ghosts and some goblins, and then direct them to the lair of the Green Wyvern. If they're not really smart, they're gonna get wiped out. Accommodate them. Oh, give me another roll. No. It's your world. It works that way because you said so. Accommodate them at what times and what days you play. Okay. Accommodate them on if they want to have a whole bunch of crap up on the table. Well, not if that's your game style. If you like a clean table, character sheet, dice bag, snacks, whatever, but no stack of rule books, no Kindle. No. I don't accommodate that. I don't accommodate anything that's going to make them more likely to feel that they can challenge me and win, because ultimately they can't, because ultimately it's my world and I invented it and I said so. So yeah, you should challenge them, and as they get tougher, it's an example I've given a long time ago, for a long time now. I guess I started giving it a long time ago. Anyway, new group. They're all a bunch of first level guys. Ooh, I got a nice stick. I got a sickle with a really sharp blade. And okay, you're setting them up, and here's the village. They all got together and let's go adventuring together. And you say, okay, well, there's something going on with the livestock over in this part of the shire or county or whatever division you have to use. And there's something going on over here with babies going missing and stuff. And somebody reported, one of the merchants that travels that way frequently reported that he believes there's a green wyvern building a nest up on the peak over in the Shawshank Mountains. Well, the new group doesn't run over and take on the wyvern, not unless they have a deep-seated desire to become wyvern turds. They go see what's going on with the livestock. They get a little something behind them. They get some confidence and some experience. Maybe they find something they can use for a better weapon until they find a real one. And then maybe they go see what's going on with the babies disappearing and finding out that the wicked pixies are stealing babies, and they can go, you give them something that they can work up to. You don't expect to throw them into the wyvern right away. It always should be commensurate. Now you give them the choice, and if they choose to go for the wyvern, well, they'll be rolling up characters real soon, and chances are they make a better choice. Let's see. Was D&D to be more narrative or tactical? Oh, it was all about narrative. Don't get me wrong. We gleefully attacked shit and hacked them up and cut them open to see what was in them and all that kind of stuff. But it was the narrative. In my case at Carbondale, it was finding this mythical lab that was, I believe it was in a niche between dimensions or something, but they had the key. If only they could find the lock, et cetera, et cetera. So the narrative always, for 15 months, was going from here to here and finding out more clues and getting closer and closer. And the tactical just came with, what'd you say was around the corner? Okay. Let's all drop back several hundred yards and plot this out. Narrative. Because aren't we all creating the story together, them by their choices, and me and you, the DMs, by their answers? Yeah, I used to be a killer DM. Many convention I went to, ran 4 games, killed all 4 of them, or killed all 3 in one and 7 in another. There are a couple of guys probably still running around from TotalCon laughing up their sleeves and telling people quite truthfully that they're not dead. They survived one of my adventures. Of course, they're trees that have a 300 or 400 year lifespan. So they'll live a long time. Define live. But after the cancer, I'm more about having fun. Not to say, though, however, that when I go to the auction of many things, I'm going to be running a wheel of blame for whoever out there, the celebrities, whatever. They oh, gee, would you? I said, sure. And that one will be a little more lethal, but it's also for fun. And this one I'll play straight up. And if they get themselves killed and they can't manage to unkill themselves, that's the way it plays. That's old school. Okay, Guy Guys hinted that RPGs didn't need the rules to be fun. We just pretended whatever we wanted. Are free-form, diceless RPGs the ultimate form of the game? Well, I agree from a completely different perspective with Gary's overall statement. I say, though, that games don't necessarily have to have hard and fast rules. Think back, mostly guys here, and I'm not trying to be sexist. I simply do not know how many young girls got into the martial aspects of some of the young girls stuff and the female superheroes and that. But okay, that aside, I'll go back to my childhood. Bags and bags of little green army men. I had battle after battle after battle, fought wars and had no rules whatsoever. Just, whatever struck me, bang, oh, I missed. Bang, oh, I got him that time, whatever. And I played for hours. And look where it ended up, where I ended up, and I'm 9 or 10 still doing that. Do RPGs need rules? Nah. No, I really don't think they do. If everybody there is okay with that. And the guy that's monitoring the game, I can't use the word running it in this case, but the person that's steering the game has a sense of logic that's acceptable to everybody else, then you're going by the rules set down, the unspoken rules set down by society. So do we ever anywhere get truly rules-less? No. Whether it's the rules of good behavior and being, getting along with our neighbors and not, setting his lawn on fire and throwing all your garbage in there, or parking out in front of his driveway, or that kind of stuff, or clanging into people at the grocery store with your cart because they didn't get out of your way fast enough. We live by these rules, these mores, these social conventions. And so if you're playing with a bunch of friends that have a reasonably similar background, not the way they were raised, by what they read and what they read. For instance, if you took 8 20-somethings that all read the Harry Potter books when they were younger, you could have a game, you could have an RPG game, because they'd all have Harry Potter in common. They'd all have a touchstone, and so you just go from there. Is that the ultimate form of games? Nah, because there's too many people that like counting beans and quoting rules. But for some people, it certainly could be. I've heard that. Oh, okay. Here we go. A comment on my DNA that they're extremely unreliable. So far, I can't. My siblings and I can't say that. They're very close to each other, except for my poor brother who keeps looking for some Irish. he looks dead bang on an Irish uncle and my Irish grandfather, but it says he has no Irish. Okay, the game part. Here's a D&D question. In your opinion, was the introduction of skills Non-weapon proficiency a mistake or a net positive? Well, this one's been answered a few times by me already. Terrible mistake. I believe that skills and proficiency should be acquired during the course of play, noted down on the character sheet, kept in the permanent record, gone over with by the DM afterwards. Just, okay, after the game's done, that's right. This sword is this. Okay, so that makes my think of what? Okay, boom. You're good. I don't like walking in with a character. For one thing, I like to start characters with an average dice. I don't like starting at ones. I generally actually start with between 3 and 5, and weighted toward 4, and therefore they come in as a tabula rasa, a blank slate. But as you go along, you find out what they're good at. And you shouldn't come in and say, oh yeah, I got this skill and I can make a fire in the rain with 2 sticks and a bird's nest. And, no, do something improbable and earn the reputation as a fire starter. Okay. I'm fine with that. And that's the way we used to do it. Somebody had a knack and they showed that knack by making a couple of improbable ideas work or something. They had a knack for it. They're the ones that started the campfires. I don't like. I just don't like the skills and the proficiencies or I don't like it. I think it clutters up the game. And in my mind, the game is a shared experience of the people playing it together. Now, I'm talking campaigning with your buddies, with your game group. It's the shared experience that you accumulate together, and not what you come in with. Okay, now here's somebody else that apparently I didn't count the words on this. Sleep like a flowing river, like the night sky, whispers in the wind, float by, good night. The words speak, then a loud sound of snorting. Magic missile. If you're not careful, beams of light will strike your soul. It will be like you fell in a black hole. 2 spells that can kill you in a combination that could do that. I don't know. Magic missile just isn't that big a deal. 1 to 3 hit points, that's the ODD magic missile. And if you're in a hit location, you give somebody a point in the eye. All right, but nah. Sorry. Next topic, the games we all play. I get asked frequently, what do I play? Well, I prefer boards. Just started playing a new one that's a whole lot of fun. The Rising Sun. However, that has not taken away any of my fascination for Scythe. And a couple of my buddies and I, 3 times a week, find an hour and a half late at night to play online together. So I'm still a board gamer at heart. I love writing RPG adventures, but that's because it's writing and it's puzzle setting up. All right, puzzle creating. I wish I could play more minis, but I just don't get the chance. I just found out that if I'd known about it earlier, I could have driven up to Moraine, Ohio, which is about an hour drive from here. They're having a great big meet of a big minis association playing Micro Armor with a set of rules I really like. I didn't want to go up and horn in, but I sure would have enjoyed going up and meeting some of these guys because, that's not very far away, and watching the game getting played. RPGs, those are what I play when I go to the cons. This year I'll be playing RPGs in Manchester, Massachusetts, and Los Angeles, California, and Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, and Dallas, Texas, and Madison, Wisconsin. So I play lots of RPGs during the course of the year. I'll also try to get in a board game or two here and there. And if I find my way into a minis game, there is a way, though, that I play minis without being minis. Ever since way back when, I've always liked taking board games and blowing them up, so to speak, so I could use miniature figures. I took the old Yakinto Ironclads game, scaled up the map, turned it into a miniatures game, measured on the tabletop with rulers, printed out to scale all the arcs of fire and everything. So I made a board game into a minis game. I love playing Samurai Battles because that's got, oh, Jesus, 108 to begin with, and I think I've got about 160 plastic figures now that you have to snap together in that, but they're quite ingenious. And again, you get the feel of, though you're playing on a board, it's really a minis game. I just realized I'm 2 or 3 tickets to ride behind. So I guess I've given up on getting all of those iterations. I play a couple of goofy games online. I play Train Station a lot. I started playing that when I was in chemotherapy because it made me get up and walk the length of the house every 45 minutes because that's what I set my trains on, was 45-minute runs. And I play Pot Farm because that's just an old-fashioned min-max game. You know, grow the stuff that makes you the best return and sell it. And I don't know, I got several billion dollars in that game. And in Train Station, I've got 812 billion. I'm working toward my first trillion. And that's the reason I play it. Well, Train Station is great cartoons, train cartoons. Pot Farm's just fun for the min-max thing and some of the very irreverent stuff they do. Oh, another thing. I decided for the auction, we're going to go back to the auction of many things here. I'm donating an item to the auction of many things. There's a non-affiliated body in Japan called the Japanese Standards Association. And a long, long time ago, they put out a set of 3 icosahedrons for the purpose of random number generating. And they are still probably some of the most accurate dice in the world because they were, the single digits are shaved deeper. You know, I mean, they figured out how much they were going to shave out of every face. So how deep could they go? So I'm going to donate these. They're in the original case. I got those through the Dungeon Hobby Shop when it was still in the old gray building. And then I'm also going to donate the custom leather case that I had made for it by a good old friend. And so that's going into the auction. All right, let's find something else to talk about now that I remember that. Okay. All right, here's somebody saying thanks for the advice on how to schedule their games. And so 1 RPG a day, 4 hours of gaming a day, a seminar a day, and a film debut as well, not to mention special gatherings to meet and greet. Okay, but you get to get general ideas. Pace yourself, spread yourself. Don't spread yourself so thin. And he's getting into my Wheel of Blame on Friday, and then he didn't have enough credits left over the Curmudgeon leaves the cellar. Yeah, well, don't worry about that. Just drop by. It's Curmudgeon leaves the cellar was supposed to be called Curmudgeon and Crawlers. We're gonna have coffee and crawlers there, and once everybody that's got a ticket for it has a coffee or a crawler, if that's their desire, then I don't care who else gets the rest. And if there's seats to be had, park your butt in one, and we'll talk. I think I'm probably going to film my old list again. I'm going to record that. I hope to have a little one of those little pro something. Anyway, one of those little cameras. Okay, like my less rules, more fun. Rulings, not rules. So, okay, well, thank you for that. All right, next one. I'm two-thirds through Fischlieber's The Knight and Knave of Swords, and have been for some time, because when I finish, I have to say goodbye to old friends. I know the feeling. Every now and again, I'll get a book, just a book from the library, and I get down to the last 60 pages, and it's like, I don't want this to end. So I'll put it aside and read another one, sometimes two, before I go back and end. I know you don't want a book to end. And that's a great book, whether it's the first time you read it or the 4th or the 14th. Did you think another can pick up where the original author left off and be true to the voice of the work? I know that Fritz's son, Justin, is also a writer. I didn't know that, and I have not read anything of his. In your opinion, could he pick up where his father left off? Well, there's a number of reasons I can't give you a firm answer on that. Number one, I don't know how much he and his dad collaborated, how much of his creative process his dad shared, how much of his world he shared. I know that Newhan was the collaboration between Fritz and Harry Fisher. They were the two that created and peopled and populated and wallpapered the world. How much of that Justin knows or was let in on, I don't know. Now, having said that, if he knows a lot about that, if he got to talk to Harry before Harry died, if he talked to his dad about it, well, he would have the background. Don't know if he has the chops. Fritz had a style. And there are some people that can mimic his style very well. There are some combinations that have collaborated extremely well. Look at Lynn Carter and Els Sprague de Camp. Goodness, they did all kinds of fantasy stuff together, and well, I might add. Collaboration is one thing. Picking up the threads for somebody else is entirely another. And I really don't want to denigrate Justin's talent if he has any. I don't know if he has any. I mean, okay, lots of people call themselves writers. I know. I used to get the stuff over the transom at the magazines. It's awfully hard to pick up somebody else's world unless you were part of it for a long time or helped make it. I can't, even if my ego were large enough to encompass the idea, I can't think of anybody that's, not writing anymore that I would feel comfortable with picking them up and trying to follow in their footsteps. The Gygax Kid could pick up, or perhaps even you, Gary's Gord the Rogue series and write new and worthy material. I don't know. I no. Okay, I know the family fairly well. I simply give you the answers, in no way denigrating or belittling anybody. Luke, no. Ernie, no. Any of the daughters? None that I've seen show any creative writing desire. Alex, I've seen nothing that Alex has written. I don't know that Alex has any desire. I'm going to say something here that's going to bother some people. Gord the Rogues sold because Gary wrote them, not because they were great writing. That's not a condemnation. I read lots of stuff that isn't great writing because it's fun to read. I wouldn't want to try to do it. I got other stuff to do myself. And having said that they sold, why they sold, they did. I don't know that anybody else is willing to put that kind of effort into it. Okay, here's one to reply to my being in a parochial school. He was in a parochial. He started out and found out I was several years ahead of the other kids in reading when I moved to public. Yeah, I don't. The education, though incomplete, that I did get was quite good. I went to 8 years. I went to middle school. Well, we called it junior high, 7, 8, 9, in 9th grade, and I coasted in everything except algebra because I'd not had any algebra. We were in this new math shit, set theory crap, and so I coasted in everything. And I even took a class ahead. And in that summer, where I met Cheryl, my wife now of be 49 years in July. So I was way ahead there. The only place I wasn't ahead was civics, government. And that's what I took that summer. And I was able to take Latin or something, I think, the next year. Anyway, whatever. So I know, you get ahead. And yeah, I've always been a voracious reader because of my competitive nature. My screw-up nature had me writing spelling words every week, 30 and 40 times each. And my competitive nature had me, the diocese I was in had several new experimental reading programs that were color-coded. And purple was always at the top, Imperial One. So I was very competitive at that. So, and you had to get a certain, comprehension level to be able to move up. And the nuns started putting my bar higher, and I still was always the first one to purple. So I've always been a voracious reader. Not quite speed reader, but almost self-taught. So yeah, a Catholic school can give you a wonderful foundation. It screwed me in math, that set theory crap. And it was the sins of omission that really bothered me when I got into later years of school, about what the Inquisition was really about, how the black robes converted the North American natives, the outrages committed in the name of God. So yeah, you get kind of, and again, remember, I'm talking late 50s, early 60s, first half of the 60s. So I was getting a skewed thing, no doubt. So I think I've worked my way through tonight. Look online for the Auction of Many Things. It's going to be live. I believe there's some Critical Role people are involved in it, and some of the people that I think some other D20 people. I don't exactly know all the groups involved in it. I just know, again, I was thankful, or I felt gratitude of being sure I'll be glad to come out. And, I'm the oldest relic that they could find that is fit to travel. So I say, hell yes. There's a reason I had to change my diet the last several weeks and give up gluten and lactose and stuff, because I want to continue to be the oldest relic that's still capable of traveling. Let's see, and in 20, there's a real good chance that I won't be out east in February, but then I'll be out west at the Mile High City. So I intend to keep traveling when I can, and I go anywhere that people send me a ticket and put me up and feed me. I'm good for that. So on that note, we're going to do a new thing soon here. This is going to be the closeout or whatever, and my video studio is putting all this together, and there's going to be some neat music in here. from, this is where we're going to recognize the sponsors. And the first one I'll talk about tonight, or I'll mention tonight. Now, see, this is the part where the music's going to roll through and that they're writing. And we'll acknowledge the sponsors, and then it'll close. So the first acknowledge is, of course, the Bards of Greyhawk, who are working on the theme song for me. There we go. Now they're not glaring. They're working on the theme song, and they're the first one to sponsor. Then we have the Dice Fanatics. Okay. This is going to look a lot spiffier when we got all this fixed up. Trust me on that. Let's see what else. We have Old Guard Games. We have World of Game Design. And last but not least, the magical digital services are provided by Biggest Fan Productions. And there's their address at the bottom. And then the music will fade down. And so now I'm done. Have a good one.